Thanks, Chairman Durbin, and thank you to you and to Ranking Member Grassley for holding this hearing. Just in my time, Stephen Shaw, Jimmy Allen, and Cornell Young were all shot to death serving in the Providence Police Department, one police department. And as Chief Novell's described very eloquently, the traumatic effect of that throughout the department was very real. So it's very good that we are having this hearing to focus on these cases. For what it's worth, the man who murdered Stephen Shaw was killed at the scene by Stephen's fellow officers. The man who murdered Jimmy Allen is serving life in prison. And the death of Cornell Young was a tragic blue-on-blue incident that was also extremely painful for the Providence Police Department. I'm very proud of the Providence Police Department, I will say, and I just wanted to express this history that they have while we're on the subject here in the room. There are so many of you that I'm going to ask 3 questions and ask if you might do me the courtesy of answering them in writing. It's called a question for the record here. If you don't care to, you don't need to, but if you do, I'd really appreciate it. Senator Cornyn and I have been working on a bill to improve crisis intervention resources for police departments. It's called the De-Escalation Training Act. I would be very grateful if you or your organizations would take a look at that and give any advice that you might have. Senator Hawley and I, some time ago, did the STOIC Act, which provides additional mental health resources for police officers, for police departments to deploy. But even in the brief time since then, we've learned a lot more, and I'd be interested in any thoughts on how that act might be updated. It passed into law with very, very broad bipartisan support, so I'm sure amendments could pass quite quickly if you'd be interested in providing some ideas about that. And the last thing I'd be interested in hearing from you about is high-velocity ammunition. We talk a lot about assault rifles, but the speed of the projectile itself is another separate factor. And as I understand it, it's a factor in the ability of your body armor to withstand the bullet. And it's a factor in the physical destruction wrought by the projectile in the human body when it hits it. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on what harm there is from high-velocity ammunition to people in your profession, and any thoughts you have about trying to restrict that particular type of ammunition. And I'll close because it's, I think, impossible not to talk about the dangers to police officers and injuries and fatalities, certainly as a member of Congress, without referencing the heroism and simple, plain, hard, tough work that our Capitol Police did on January 6th, fending off the mob that President Trump sent up here to do damage to the building, and obviously they did a lot of damage to police officers. I think the January 6th Commission, the bipartisan January 6th Commission, has done a very fair job of presenting what that day looked like to the police officers who were here, and for those who were injured that day, and for those who, for whom fatality resulted from that day. It's worth, I think, just expressing a moment's honor and appreciation to them for their service on that bloody day. And with that, I guess I'm the senior person here, so I'll now turn to Senator Lee, followed by Senator Klobuchar, followed by Senator Cotton, it seems, unless the order should change.